Can everyone hear me okay? All right, awesome. Our presentation is an ode to the death of white supremacy. So we've been reflecting on personal stories, our experiences throughout the 9 months with everyone here and everything we've been learning. And we will be taking you through kind of sharing about willow coffins and what we've actually made a coffin here, and kind of reimagining and rethinking about death and kind of capitalism and death and kind of that whole process. We'll be sharing personal stories. We are putting to bed the things that we want to around white supremacy. So we're also asking you if you'd like to participate in putting your own things to rest and to death around white supremacy. So we'll be sharing some things that we want, and obviously there's so many. We'll be weaving together our stories and these artifacts, and then we'll be singing a song. And we've passed out song sheets. If you would like to join in song with us, it will take around maybe 3 minutes. We're going to repeat it 3 times, so we get a little used to it by the 3rd time. And we also have delicious bread that we'd like to break with you that Lisa has made, and she will share more about that. But yeah.
Yes, about that bread. It's a little story about my cultural heritage as an American. I'm older than a lot of you, so back in the day when Diversity Days first became popular, I was on the PTA at the school, and I was thinking, let's have a diversity day. And I helped set it up, and we had cultural experiences and all kinds of dance and talk and all kinds of things to teach people about different cultures. And of course, there's always food. So everyone is expected to bring some food representing their culture. And I was quite perplexed. I'm an American. I don't have any other culture. I've got some European roots. I'm Swedish, I'm Belgian, I'm German, I'm Irish, but it's all kind of mixed up. And there was no food that was part of my cultural heritage. I had really been integrated into the whole American thing and lost any cultural heritage we might have had. So I decided to focus on my Irish heritage. And I thought, there's a thing called Irish soda bread. But life is crazy, and the idea of figuring out how to make soda bread seemed too overwhelming, and I had this thing that I'd been making lately called beer bread. You can see the recipe there. It's really simple. You put 3 ingredients, you mix them, you put it in a pan, cold oven. It doesn't take any effort at all. So I decided I'm just going to make some beer bread and tell everybody this is Irish soda bread. So that's sort of a representation of how we've kind of merged and melted and lost any cultural heritage we might have had. Next story.
This is a story about my grandpa, Eugene Roberts. I think when they immigrated, it was Rottenstein, so that has changed, and he was born in 1928, immigrated from Hungary, and I'm sharing this story because as a Jewish person and how Jewish people have kind of claimed whiteness or kind of ascended to whiteness, and kind of looking back at my family history and kind of seeing that ascension essentially. So born to a kind of a religious Jewish family, stripped away a lot of that kind of black hat, going to synagogue or shul, studying, being in with the books, and kind of putting that aside, serving in the army, attended college, got a education in education, was a teacher, became a principal. He met my grandma, who was also studying at school in Queens, and they started a summer camp with children where they just gathered children. They rented a bus and they just started taking them on field trips. And they decided that they wanted to start a summer camp in New York. And they found property, so they were able to buy property, which was a farm. They turned it into a school. They kind of got all the permits whenever they needed to get, and that is kind of like the legacy of my family on my mom's side, is they started this summer camp, Robin Hood Country Day, and Robin Hood is that like iconic character, stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. And They had it bought it in 1953. The camp started in 1957 and then went all the way through, I think, 2006. And then they sold it. So it was really, aunts and uncles worked at the family camp and, part of like childhood experience. And, but just kind of seeing what are those steps to ascend to white supremacy. And I'm just like looking, I was like, these are the bullets. Acquiring property, college education, having that kind of nuclear family, stripping away some of that religious Jewish identity. Yeah. Excellent.
Hi, everybody. So I'm talking about a little bit more towards how we get to freedom for everybody. And for me, this journey with Deal and really through my life is to unravel the false narrative and to know what is real. So, kind of with that weaving theme is to, white supremacy could be a fabric with a lot of threads, and it's really strong. The individual threads are weak, but together it's, a fabric. And, we can pull those pieces away and start to dismantle the narrative. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about freedom as reparations as a part of freedom. That, for white folks, we need to get into the right relationship with the land, with people, with the planet, with animals. And we have to stop the harm going forward, which is, I'm hoping, we're learning some tools in Deal to do that, and repair and heal, what we have done to all life, especially human life, Black life, brown life. So I really got interested in, trying, when we do our ancestor work here, I really got interested in is like, well, maybe I should start doing Celtic hairstyles. Like, will that connect me? And, it just seemed like, it doesn't really work that way. And I was actually at a lecture for food literacy at U of M, and a Somali woman was talking about her aunties making these vessels out of grass that hold camel milk. They weave it so tight that it doesn't even look like grass anymore. And she's talking about this ancient technology, like thousands of years old, and how their survival is dependent upon that technology. And so I just started looking up weaving from my cultural heritage of Scottish and Irish, and I found these Scottish women weaving a casket. Oh, and the Somali aunties always sing when they make these vessels. And so I just Google and I pull up this, this video, which we'll see a little bit later, of these women weaving a casket out of willow, and they're singing a song. And so that's kind of was the inspiration for our coffin in our presentation today. And so, we're all different, but, we're all the same. Like, we all need those technologies, and doing those things together get us in relationship with each other, which is, I think, something that's really, really lost for the white caucus, is our distance from relationships. Let's see. And then the commons, I think, is for me a real step towards freedom, that the individual is nothing without the collective and without the commons, and that is true freedom. And the commons include all of the creatures, the bumblebee and the river otter up there. And I just put him up there because he's so cute. And he was gone. They were gone from the river, and they're back. And so he's kind of a symbol of hope for me, and coming home when you stop poisoning something. So, and I think that freedom for our group maybe means different things. Like we might have different ideas on capitalism, but I think that we all agree that freedom is being connected, and freedom means being like from preventable sorrow. Like, you know, there's always going to be sadness in the world, but there's a lot of it that is preventable. And I think that that is all I have to say about that. So we are going, oh, Lisa, you're going to do this part. Yeah.
We're all going to do this.
Yes. But you're going to talk.
So we are celebrating a funeral today, a funeral for white supremacy. And some of the things that we're putting to death include these artifacts. So the first one is hairspray. And I really just learned about this from something I heard on the radio. Beauty standards are determined culturally, right? And some certain features are privileged through these beauty standards that we set culturally, such as thinness over fatness, youthfulness over signs of age, whiteness over black or brown. You know, it's really, sometimes our beauty standards create racism, ageism, fat phobia, white supremacy. It's all baked into that. So there's ties to histories of inequality in our beauty standards. And it's beneficial for capitalism. I learned about a black sociologist, professor, and writer named Tressie McMillan Cotton, who spoke about these things. And to quote her, beauty is not about preferences, but about preferences that reproduce the existing social order. It increases the power of white people. It's a function to uphold white supremacy and exclude black folks. It upholds pernicious hierarchies for profit, so people invest time and money as close as possible to white, thin, cisgender, ideal body. It centers a very narrow conception of human beauty that serves almost no one. So that was a long explanation of why we're going to put hairspray, I didn't use it this morning, to death. We've got a few other artifacts to share with you.
Do you want to share all of them?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. We are also putting together the Statue of Liberty. This is an icon for freedom, but we have to ask ourselves, freedom for who? Whose freedom is represented by this statue? It's also a beacon to welcome immigrants, but which immigrants? It's a monument to independence, but whose independence? So we're going to put the Statue of Liberty for what it has represented in the past. We're going to put that to death today.
So I have here a portion of a deed restriction from Pleasant Ridge, which is just up the street from where I live in Ferndale. And this is currently on somebody's their deed, and it is restrictive to malt liquors, liquor businesses, and colored people for any purpose. So we're definitely putting this shit to bed. And, you know, property has been a way to hoard resources and hoard wealth and keep other people from it. So I would like to not have any property ever and have a collective where it's all in our best interest to take care of it. So we got that. Are you putting them in now? No. Oh, not putting them in? Sorry. Yep, gotta. And then Velveeta cheese. So Peter, you know, who's part of our White Caucus, talked about Velveeta cheese and that, you know, from Europe, there's, you know, all these cheeses that are so specific to regions because of the yeast in the air and the climate and the humidity and, you know, really delicious, flavorful, you know, sometimes funky cheese. And then you get to America, right, and you leave that behind and you get this melty cheese-type food, which is also good for queso. But so we're putting the melting pot to bed and to death, and would like more of a salad with a lot of different variety.
We're putting capitalism to bed, and it doesn't serve us. It's very exclusive, and it just doesn't feel like it. If we were in a system where we were trading and sharing resources and mutual aid, we wouldn't have to be thinking about money. And cops, we're going to put the cops to bed because they are extremely harmful and violent and destructive and just really hurting us every day. So, and they support capitalism. So these are some of the items that we're putting to bed, and we've shared the purple sheets for you if you want to contribute to what you want to put to death and add to the coffin.
Peggy.
Okay. Next one.
Yeah, so you can do any or none of these, however you feel like. So you can sing with us when we sing. You can add your own artifacts to the coffin, and you can put flowers in the coffin. You can put them in your hair. You can take them home. You can do whatever feels right to you. And I just wanted to say that I talked about the fabric of white supremacy, but we also have the fabric of organizers that, just on our own little pieces of thread. We're not that strong, but together we can make a strong fabric. And if one thread comes out, there's a whole bunch supporting. So I forgot to say that. So, all right. Yeah, so the little purple pieces of paper are for you to write down your artifacts. And yeah.
And then bring them up and put them to death. And then we'll
begin. I think you should start the.
Let the funeral begin.
Yeah. That's the song.
Wait, song or video?
Both.
Okay.
Oh. So, to finish off, after a funeral, there's a repast, and we invite you to join us for some beer bread, not Irish coffee.